This
Hey
is the
everybody.
story of a
Hey
girl.
everyone, this is Alexa. Hello to all of my awesome viewers and friends. I'm going to talk to you today about
I
coming out.
absolutely love her when she smiles.
Hey guys, it's Alexa. Thanks for watching again. I am back. So what I wanted to do was, I know it's been a year, but I wanted to make my 2017 Best Picture nominations ranking list from my least favorite to my favorite. I know, like I said, it's been a year past due. I honestly have no excuse. I put it off for a year. Ironically, I made the graphics and I made like my intro and my outro and all that fun stuff except the video, right? So, nice one, I know. I just got to the point where I didn't know if I wanted to make it, and then I just didn't get around to it. And then, you know what? I realized I need to do this before I make my 2018 video. So, without further ado, let's do this. My ninth pick was Arrival, and I really enjoyed this movie. It just wasn't that memorable to me, you know, and ironically, it's about an alien invasion. It's not actually, spoiler alert, there will be spoilers. This is not an alien invasion kind of movie, so if you went into this movie thinking that was what it was going to be, it's not. This is more of, I would say, almost a realistic depiction of what would really happen if aliens came to Earth. So basically, we see our character. She's a professor at a college, and she's a language expert. And so they figure out, okay, the government realizes she's the only one who can communicate with these aliens. And, you know, it's this unknown extraterrestrial. So they say, okay, well, we really need help. Can you communicate with these aliens? And she's like, sure. So she does. And basically what she finds out is, and also the movie it basically takes place in the present, but also continuously shows flashbacks. Spoiler alert: they're not flashbacks. It turns out it's the future that we're seeing, which is really cool. I liked the spoiler, and I liked that a lot. That was a really cool twist. But it turns out she communicates with these aliens, and it's really cool. It's a really cool concept. I feel like this would be more realistic, that the aliens would try to be helping us. You know, they definitely took a different approach, which I appreciated. It just wasn't the most memorable, and that's why it's my last pick. Okay, guys, my number 8 is Hell or High Water. I love the title of this movie. I really like the title. I always tell people I'm a big title person, so if you can come up with a really cool title for your movie, it'll be remembered for a long time. So first of all, the title just is a 10 out of 10. Story is definitely a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. It's really strong. It reminds me a lot of something the Coen brothers would make. It's kind of got that Western feel, but also sort of this, I don't know, this modern feel as well, though. Basically, what's cool is you see more of the development of the bad guys. And it's basically about these robbers that are getting chased in this small town that have been robbing banks, you know, back to back to back. And then basically you see the perspective of the sheriff and his buddy, and then you see the perspective of the robber. And you see that he's actually a pretty normal guy, and he's been through quite a bit. And I like Chris Pine a lot. I believe Tommy Lee Jones was in this too, I believe. Please forgive me, it's been a year. But I really did enjoy the movie a lot. And I think why it didn't get higher on my list was just because they were better contenders, honestly. I'm not a big Western person, and maybe I also felt like the movie was a little drawn out too, a little long. So I think that was also why I put it so low on my list. My number 7 pick is Manchester by the Sea. Again, great title. I like these titles. This one had Casey Affleck, and actually I had never seen him before. This was the first movie that I had seen him in, and I love Michelle Williams, obviously. She's great. If you go see My Week with Marilyn, you'll know what I'm talking about. Or you can even go back to the Dawson Creek days, you know, she's great. The story is very sad, and it's a very dreary, but I liked it because I felt like this was a different approach, though. The setting, the way they told the story, I enjoyed that though. It was very fresh, and it was real people, real situations. Basically, I'm trying to remember the plot, please forgive me, it's been a while. I believe this guy's nephew comes to live with him after he loses his father, and you see the flashbacks, and then this guy, you know, he's all messed up. He lost his family, but you know, he's still communicating with his ex-wife, which is played by Michelle Williams. And it's just a strong movie. You'll like it. It's just sad. It's very sad and drawn out. But what I do like about it is the dialogue. You know how we don't speak in complete sentences, right? The dialogue's very real. You'll almost feel like you hear regular people talking, just walking by, if that makes sense. It doesn't sound like it's a script. So I admired that. That was a very different approach to the dialogue. So I commend that. My number 6 pick is Hacksaw Ridge. Another cool title, seriously. This one is about a guy who refuses to use guns in war. Very original take. Now this wasn't original, this was a true story, but this was just a really interesting story to pick and to touch upon. This is a guy, you see his background why he doesn't want to use guns. And it's very strong. It's kind of like, I don't use that word quite a bit today, I guess, but it was just a cool story to watch. Especially, okay, it draws you in. The movie draws you in. So you basically see this guy who's really sensitive, and he's a little scrawny guy, and you see him go into war, and he gets teased because he doesn't want to use guns, and then it becomes this big thing, and then he almost gets kicked out because he doesn't want to use a gun, and then it turns out not using a gun saved everybody's lives, and he saved all these people by himself, and he used just the techniques he learned and was able to not have to depend on one. So that was really cool. It was just so indulged the whole time. So good job, Hacksaw. Good job. Okay. My number 5 pick, can you take a guess? Da 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 da. La La Land. Another good title, seriously. I was really impressed by the titles last year. This one, if I remember correctly, it just wasn't, what's funny is, you know how hype works, right? You hear about a movie, you hear about a TV show, it's so good, you gotta watch it, you gotta watch it. It's the best thing you'll ever watch. I watched it, and I just did not feel that way. I just was like, this is pretty good, definitely. And did it really deserve best costumes? Come on, guys. They're like wearing modern clothes. Now, production design, I liked the colors. It had really bright colors, and then you had this Hollywood feel to it. But and obviously, I love Ryan Gosling and I love Emma Stone. They have great chemistry. I enjoyed the story. Basically, it's about 2 dreamers, and they either have to choose between their dreams or each other. Really, is the storyline. And you know, you see what would have happened if they ended up together without their dreams. Would they have been happier versus if they had gotten the dreams that they always wanted, kind of deal. So that was a good story, and I enjoyed the modern day musical feel and but it also included the Hollywood feel at the same time. So it was cool to mix the two. Just wasn't that memorable, and I don't think it deserved all those Oscar nominations. But it was a great movie, and I did enjoy it. So please go see it. You will enjoy the movie. You will. My number 4th pick is Fences. Who in God's name told me I have to like you? I feed you. I clothe you. Okay, I'm not a theater actress. I'm sorry. I just had to do that. Fences. Fences is my number 4th pick. I love Denzel Washington, and this was a real play. And I admired the movie. I admired the fact that they took this play and they made it into a movie. Now here's my thing. I'm gonna say this first off. If you don't have patience, don't watch this movie, okay? It's a great movie, but basically you hear people talking because it's based off a play. So it has one setting, the house, and that's it. So you see Viola Davis, Denzel Washington, and their son and their neighbors. And basically you see all the drama that is construed throughout the movie. And, but like I said, If you can't put up with dialogue, don't go see it. If you have patience and you can admire, good theater, you'll enjoy it. They took this theater piece, made it into a movie, brought some great actors into it. Denzel was actually in the theater play as well in New York, and he's amazing. He's just dropped in amazing. He directed it too. You'll enjoy it every single minute. Really, you'll admire this movie. It took a lot of chances. The scenes are super long though, and the dialogue is about as long as me. About as much as I talk, really. But so if you can put up with me, you can put up with Fences. Pretty much every year there's an Oscar contender that will take films based off of history, and they end up becoming, Oscar nominations, because really that's just how it is. They'll pick a few movies every year, and one of them is usually something that's based off of history. So this one was well done though, and it was a great story. You feel for the characters throughout the whole movie. They basically have three women, three best friends who work in the space program. They end up working their way to the top and showing that they are smart and that they are capable and they know a lot more than they're given credit for. And they end up, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost reconstructing everything because of their new ideas. So, I love underdog stories like that. And it's sad when I watch this movie, it's sad to put yourself back in that place. That there was a time when there was prejudice, and there was a time when, African American women, African American people were treated as second-class citizens. And it's sad to watch that, but it's also very motivational to see where they came and to see who they became and what they did for America, what they did for our history. So I really enjoyed the movie. Go see it. It's a strong story and you'll love it. It's very entertaining from beginning to end. Okay, my second pick is Lion. So this might just be kind of a personal opinion, but I like this movie a lot. I'm a big coming of age person. I love coming of age stories. Obviously, I don't know if it was obvious to you, but this one was, I'm adopted, first of all, so it hit a nerve. The film is about an Indian boy. He's separated from his mother and his brother, and he ends up taking a bus. First he's on the streets, and then he ends up taking a bus, and finally he's brought to an orphanage and he's adopted. And years later he goes back and he wants to find his mother and his brother. So he's doing all of these things. He's doing his research to see how much he walked from where he took the bus basically back to his town. So he's trying to find it. And it's very difficult to find people in third world countries, obviously. And he ends up finding his mother and actually getting to meet her, and it's a true story, another true story. But it was very heartfelt, and I felt for the movie the whole time. I was in tears at the end. The movie can put you to tears. It's a good movie. So go see Lion. It's great. I love it. And this actor is actually from Slumdog Millionaire. So if you recognize his face, you'll say, oh, this guy's been in an Oscar movie before. Slumdog Millionaire. So go see Lion though. It's a tearjerker. Get the tissue box out. It was for me anyway. Maybe because it hit a nerve, like I said. But very strong story. All right, everybody, my number one pick. Are you ready? Again, let's do this. I'm sure you already know the answer, but it's Moonlight. This was everything an Oscar contender should be, obviously. Let's start. Where should we start? It's an African-American boy portrayed by three actors this time. Not the same actor, but three actors. And basically you see him in the most, they pick really good stages of his life. I think he's 8 in the beginning, 15 in the middle of the movie, and then about 22, no, probably 25 at the end, 25, 26. So you see him in very, I guess critical times of his life is the best word to put it. He grows up with a mother who's addicted to drugs, and he lives in a really bad part of town. And then, he's bullied at school because he's gay. And so, yeah, this is everything an Oscar contender should be. But the way that it was directed, it almost flows. It flows from beginning to end, if that's the best way I can put it. you watch it and you're just like, wow, this is like almost watching a play, kind of like Fences, but this is more of an artwork. And that's what I felt like I was watching, not necessarily a movie, but more of an artwork. And I think that's why I liked it so much. And I do love coming of age stories, but so maybe that my opinion's partial, obviously. But you know, I really liked this one though, and I knew when I watched it though, I was like, I felt something when I watched it. And maybe not just because I'm gay, but maybe because there were just so many elements of the movie that were real. And I think if you couldn't relate to one piece of it, you could relate to something. He was also a very shy boy, and you know, you see him go through his first love and just the struggles that he had to go through, which most people should never have to go through. You see that this boy does go through, but he ends up, you know, eventually overcoming all of it. He does reconnect with the love of his life, and it's a strong movie. And I've said strong movie, let's see, 6 times now? 7, if you've been counting. You have a drinking game to me, I'm pretty sure. So without further ado, everybody, that was my list of the 2017 Best Picture nominations. I really enjoyed watching these movies last year. They were all great contenders. Like I said, all of them have pretty good titles. They really just were all entertaining movies. There's years where I'll watch these movies and there's some I just honestly don't like. I liked them all last year. Really, they all stood out to me. Even a year later making this video, I remember them to a certain degree. I can't give you the plot synopsis that well, but you know, I definitely enjoyed the movies, and I highly encourage you to go watch them because, you know, they pick movies that you wouldn't have gone to go see if you hadn't made that choice. You know, like, so if they weren't advertised as Best Picture nominees, you wouldn't have watched them necessarily. That's why I encourage people to go watch them, because these are movies that were just so well put together, and you'll enjoy them for sure. This was my 2017 list, everybody. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.